Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Fate Podcast, where we discuss film, anime, television, and other forms of entertainment. I'm your host, Elijah, and here we have my co host, Sam. Now, before we start the show, we like to go back and, tell people things to watch. So every day before we start the show, we're gonna start with a recommendation. So one of my recommendations to watch is Kurgo Basketball. It's on Netflix. It's an anime and it's a sports anime. Now, I wasn't quite a sports anime type of guy, but as I watched, started to watch this anime, it just blew my mind. I love anime because it's exaggerate a lot of things and the way they handle basketball, making them, the crossover, the shots, is so exaggerated but funny. You get the characters, you get the laughs, and you get the over exaggerated, shots and moves and stuff like that. It's incredible. If you haven't watched sports anime, start with Kuroko basketball, and especially if you're a basketball fan, I think you like the show. Sam, what's your recommendation?
First, I want to comment on yours because, I've honestly been kind of wanting to watch that because I see it and I'm like, that looks interesting. And I think I've seen clips on Instagram or something where I was just like, dude, this is the most intense game of basketball I've ever seen, and it doesn't need to be. And okay, I might check that out then. That looks really
Yeah,
good.
yeah,
Dude, I was grappling with this all day of what I wanted to recommend, but I'm gonna go with a real classic here, like a real far throwback. So mine is more of, if you are somebody that absolutely loves film and you have HBO Max, do me a favor and open up that app and go in there and go to the Turner Classic Movies section. Look for a movie. It's from the 1940s, I think. It's called Rashomon by Akira Kurosawa. He's one of the greatest directors that's ever lived. He's a Japanese film director, one of the greatest. Matter of fact, he even made a movie called The Hidden Fortress, which inspired Star Wars. But watch Rashomon. It's a movie about truth, justice, and what it means to all of us, and the nature of truth, and can we ever get to the root of it and truly know what happened in a situation that, well, no one else was a witness to other than the people participating in it. And it's really good. It was a movie ahead of its time. It's in black and white if you can stomach that, and it's also subtitles. So yes, you have to read, grow up if you don't like that. So, but it's a super good movie. Check it out.
yeah.
Rashomon.
No, okay, that's good. I don't even know when the last time I watched a black and white movie.
And I love the aesthetic, dude, because
Mhm.
it's something like Twilight Zone, to me, and I'm sure it's not, but to me, the whole purpose, when you get something in black and white, especially like Twilight Zone or that movie, when color was kind of starting to come around, I think the whole point is they want you to pay attention to the details of the story. You don't
Mhm.
have these colors that pull you this way or trying to show you a device that way. Though great, not knocking it at all, but I love the black and white aesthetic just because I feel like they're just saying hey, slow down, pay attention to the story here. Look at the people, see what they have to say. What are these characters' intentions are? Stuff like that.
Yeah. Hey guys, if check out our recommendations. If you want to challenge yourself, watch something new, check them out. Now, let's start the show. Now, today we're gonna start analyzing, going over Loki, all the 6 episodes. I know it just ended a few weeks ago. We're gonna go analyze everything that's happened between that time of the show. You know, Loki is on Disney Plus if you haven't seen it, and it's so at the third installment of the Disney Plus shows that they're trying to do. So, you know, Sam, what you think about the overall concept of Loki? Did we really need one? How did the show fare?
So I think you posed a great question in that. You just said, did we need it? And I think that was something everyone was asking when this show first started. Like, of course, everyone loves the character. He's, Tom Hiddleston himself is just a very charming, charismatic guy. Like, he brings so much awesomeness to that character. Everybody loves him. But you're kind of like, what? Like, what's going to be the importance of this? Like, cool. It's just like, at first, like, you feel that way, and then you're like, it's just going to be some side adventure. Little did we know this became the most important show in this phase thus far. This set the precedent of how the multiverse has occurred and has officially set up what we're about to be in for throughout this phase, I feel like. So I feel like overall, this was a show that people, I don't think, were expecting how much it was going to affect everything. And I think it really kind of blew people away. Even though it was slow to start a little bit, I think that second half made up for the fact that it was a little slow, just to kind of catch you up.
Yeah, no, I can agree with you on that. Like when I first started the show, especially the first episode, there were things here and there. I'm like, oh, okay, like Loki is he lost his powers. He not really in control, but it's kind of showing like where Loki is and where he's gonna be. And then also, yeah, the first half it had to explain everything. It had to explain. It was like world building. It had to explain the world. Had to explain the temp pads and all the other stuff. And then the second half is really kick it into gear. Now with Loki, when they first reported and said that they were going to have a Loki series, I'm like, yeah, I would just like you. I'm like, do we need one? Like, yeah, he was one of the good villains in the Marvel franchise, but I ain't think we needed Loki. But when they actually brought him in and then they explored um the multi universe type of aspect of it, I'm like, okay, this can be interesting, and it was. I'm not gonna lie, I liked it a lot. I mean, I want to say it's the best, and to be honest, guys, I haven't watched any of the Disney Plus series. Loki was the first one. I'm still need to catch up on WandaVision and Falcon, but I can say this was a really good show, and I would recommend it to anyone to watch. It's if they're suspect of Loki and having himself his own show.
You're getting ready to say it was the best one. Don't worry, I've seen the other two. It is the best one. It is the best one. Not to knock the other ones, but this, for me, it kind of felt like every time another show came out, I was like, "Oh, this is better than the other one."
Yeah.
I was like, "No, this is actually better than all of them." And I was like, so I kept doing that, and in a way, that's kind of a good thing. That it kind of feels like, okay, maybe they're almost like weeding out who has really got it down for the shows that they're doing and stuff, or maybe it's just them all together finding their footing and how they want to present these characters and do these shows, especially because they're making them quick. They're not giving you 22 episodes or like 10 or 13. They're giving you 6 to 8.
Yeah, and I think that's a strategic part of that, because hey, if we got 22 episodes, we probably won't last long into the franchise. Like other shows, the Arrowverse, have all these characters, and we should stop watching it. I'm sorry, I stopped watching The Flash. I stopped watching Arrow. Like, yes, there are good the verses, the universes are good and they all come together, but goodness grief, they're freaking long as hell. But it's kind of good that we have Disney Plus with um six to less episodes, or 6 to 10 episodes. So they're doing their part, and they just keep on dropping them, which works. Now with Loki, what do you think it did well? Like, what kind of world building, the action, the villain?
For me, the very first thing, like, and maybe I'm just kind of a dork for this, but like
Mm-hmm.
for me, like that 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 theme song when that comes in, that like when that hit in, I was like, ooh, this is the right vibes for it, because it's a very like, it's like spooky, or I should say mysterious, but
Mm-hmm.
like I don't even know, man. It's just this perfect vibe to the whole thing. It's just epic and mysterious, and that's kind of the whole thing of the show. But like, I think they got that aesthetic down that they were going for. You know, like it wasn't full on like dark, kind of like a Zack Snyder thing, because it still had like that Marvel filter to it. But like, it had a little darker tone to it.
No,
You
I
know what I
agree.
mean? I thought they had a good aesthetic with that, and like they knew exactly who they were catering to in it. I
Mm-hmm.
felt like they knew exactly what to, like, that's how I felt every step of the way. It felt like they knew exactly what they were doing. Like there was this whole thing, it's like you want more, you can complain and gripe, but they were just like wait. And like that's what was great about it, is that it was a show that you got to be patient with. It's not a long show, you just got to be patient with it for a second, and once it really pays off, and I mean it really pays off for him. So like, I thought, though it was a slower burn, kind of, not really, but sort of, and it's a slower burn in a sense as to like figuring out like who's behind it all and all that stuff. So like, I thought they really nailed the pacing in that aspect. So like aesthetic, pacing, I thought they did well. Acting was very well done. It was like all the interactions between people felt very genuine. Like Mobius and Loki. That became like a good bromance immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Um Sylvie and Loki were also a good pairing. It was this very good like back and forth, and like, but also confusing with their love. And what, I'm not going to get into that right now because that'll come down the line. Um, but they had a good back and forth,
Yeah.
and yeah, I don't know. I thought the show did a good job of keeping you on your toes and keeping it fresh and kooky.
Yeah, I agree. Like with the aesthetic, with the especially with the tone and the theme, it wasn't even the lighting. It was kind of dark.
Yeah,
There wasn't any bright lights and colorful lights. You know how Marvel operates with bright lights
like
and a
compared to
light
Thor
theme.
Ragnarok, like
Exactly. It wasn't,
it's
yeah,
like,
compared, yeah,
yes.
compared the lighting and the theme to Ragnarok to Loki, it was completely different. And it makes sense. So you kind of get that dark feeling of it. It wasn't a boring show to me. Like it wasn't it wasn't like I need to watch the next episode, but I end up it didn't take me like 2 or 3 days to watch the next episode. Like when I had time, I'm okay, let me watch Loki um to see what happens. I'm okay, I can't wait to watch the next episode. So I think it and maybe because I have high expectations of it, that's why
Mhm.
I'm saying like it was better than I thought it would be, obviously. But you know, overall, I like how they operated with Loki um in a way where it was just nice and smooth, and his character development was done well. Like
Mhm.
now we can see Loki is not gonna be a villain anymore. He's gonna be a hero, maybe an anti-hero, who knows? Um but
Absolutely.
now now the no, I'm not gonna even get into that. But yeah. I'm not gonna get into
Yeah, we'll get it down the line
that.
for sure.
Now, with what you didn't like about the show?
Um, hmm, what didn't I like? Um, you know what? I'll start with this. What I didn't like at first is like the whole like, okay, like at first, like, Loki didn't like lose his powers. It was like they dampened it in that whole area.
Mm-hmm.
At that part, you kind of are like, what the what? Like how? Because you're just like you really got some explaining to do, but they do a good job of explaining it, so like you kind of get over that. But like I didn't like that at first, but grew to be okay with it because it was fine. I also didn't like the TVA's outfits. Um,
Yeah, that was.
I also this is probably my biggest gripe. What? Why the hell would they think it's a good idea for Loki to have the love interest be a female version of himself? Like, is it just to play into that whole narcissism of that character itself? Is just like the
They must.
only person he could
They must have
possibly
used,
love and
but
be with is a female version of, or just another version of himself? Because
yeah, they
he
must have
did
used.
reveal that they're bisexual in
They
it,
must have
which
called him a
people shit their
narcissist
pants
like
about.
10 to 15 times in the freaking series. You know.
Yeah,
So.
they do call it out too. It's just like, dude, that's the grossest thing I've ever heard. So like,
That's kind of
you
weird.
kind of get some, you get that like levity with it, where they're just like, okay, they do make light of it, but it's just like, ew, ew, like, because they went with it the whole time, bro. Like, I just would rather them be like really cool, not a relationship.
I
But
mean,
like, also you kind of root for it, bro. Like, you kind of catch yourself going like, yeah, this is so cool, like good for him. But then you're also like, wait, that is him.
well, technically, it's not. You know, the
But like
the
but
twenty
it
the.
is. Like you're right, but like
It's
also
just like, okay, it's
ew.
not, so here's the thing, the argument gonna be like, oh, okay, he's dating himself, but he really not dating himself. He's dating himself in another timeline, which is a female version of him, but not completely him. And when you get to stuff like that, it's always confusing, and people will be like, okay, I'm not gonna even think about it anymore. Either you like it or you don't, bro. That's probably gonna
Yeah,
be the way it
dude.
is.
Yeah, it's the thing. It's like it's either gonna bother you or you
Yeah,
just look past it.
yeah.
And I guess their hope was just look past it, just look past it, just look
And the
past it.
thing about that relationship is, even though she was supposed to be Loki, I didn't think of her Loki. That's why I was like, the only time
They
I thought of her as Loki is when they mentioned she's Loki. But other than that, I didn't think of herself as a Loki character.
I kind of think that's a good thing that they did that.
Yeah.
Is that they wanted to separate it so that you knew for a fact, like you wouldn't be confused.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I don't know. I don't think anyone would be confused in any way because
No,
I
it
mean,
wouldn't because there's a
it's
female in there.
pretty clear that they're
Yeah.
different people. But
Mm-hmm.
still, I think it was really cool that it was like, she'd been through all this stuff and she was just like, don't call me that. My name's
Yeah.
Sylvie. And I kind of like that. I did like that fact. But yeah, it was super awkward.
Gotcha.
But also, and I had a funny thought with it. But like, what person hasn't thought about if they met another version of themselves, if like they would, you know, get down with another version of themselves?
Yeah, that's pretty
What
weird.
person hasn't?
That's pretty weird. Nah, see, Netflix. I mean, not Netflix. I'm sorry. Disney's playing games around here, bro. They are playing games. They're 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 stepping over a line. Um, but people like us and people on the internet is gonna dive even deeper of what they're actually doing. And this is gonna be like, no, no, no. It's just a playful thing. It's just no. We know what you're doing. We know what you're doing.
Game of Thrones did the same thing, and we were cool with it because it's medieval times.
But
But even then, we weren't really
Disney is
okay
supposed to be
with
PG-13, bro. Come on, man.
it.
Nah.
But hey, dude, you know what? Maybe that's a theme that they're dealing with like heavy topics. Like, I mean, dude, we just talked about Black Widow and how like
Yeah,
that was
you're
a lot
right.
about trauma and even like kind of talked about human trafficking. Like they're
Mm-hmm.
kind of getting down into some serious stuff.
I know. I don't know. They're stepping on some waters right there, bro. Some heavy waters, bro. I don't know.
Yeah, and then also what I threw in too is like, like in the midst of all that, as they're like bonding when they were on that train, like they throw that just like in passing, like it was fun. but people had like shit their pants about it, where they were just like they just mentioned that they're bisexual.
Yeah.
They're just like, imagine you've had many princes or princesses your way. He's like, good princes too, like, and it's just like, okay, so many people freaked out. It's just like it's one line. Like it,
Now,
it
I mean,
really doesn't change the character at all. Like, not really. If anything, those kinds of beings, in my mind, they would probably be like that because they're just a god. So they just don't really care if they're horny. They're probably
I
just
mean,
like, you come here.
and the thing about that though is it's like it's Disney. So Disney have to represent their brand. So if you go too much on that, and this is why the complaint is like, okay, you're gonna go because you're supposed to be PG-13. So if you go past PG-13, people are gonna have a problem with that. So if you start messing like sexualities and
I mean, just
how about
saying,
prince and
yeah,
princesses and
but
stuff
just
like that?
saying you're bisexual doesn't make it R or PG-13. I mean, like,
No,
if
it doesn't.
anything,
No, it
that would
doesn't.
be
No, it
PG-13. You know what
doesn't.
I mean?
It doesn't. But it is what it is.
But like, even the character in the comics though was bisexual or maybe even pansexual.
Trust me, if they actually did adaptation of the gods, it will be rated R and R. If
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because like I said, like, gods, like, they were just horny people, bro. They just like, just come on over. We don't really care.
yeah. No, but I will agree with you that I didn't like the outfits of the TVAs. It was kind
It
of
just
like
looked like they were ready for
I
paintball,
think it
bro.
was kind of like they were going at the tones that we're not supposed to like it. Maybe I'm not sure, but listen, you're able to travel through different times, but yet you pick an outfit that's just outdated. I don't know. Um, I agree with you that my first episode, I was kind of complaining in my head where Loki lost his powers, and I'm just like, well, why is this section that they're in is no magic abilities? And does I mean does do Loki really run on magic? Being a god, is that like their like if Thor went there, would his Mjolnir won't work? I don't know. Like is
It's got to be different. Like, his powers have to be different because, like, remember, like, is it like, I'm wondering, is it magic? Because, like, also remember, like, he was like super mad at like Doctor Strange because he was just saying like he was just like a doing stupid witchcraft, or just like, I don't know, like, he was hating on him for like the type of magic he does. So I don't know if it's just two different kinds of magic, or if, like, I don't know.
hmm. Well
Like, is there
that
a difference when you learn it and then when it's bestowed upon you like a god? Like, is there
hmm.
just like an inherent difference where it's like, oh, when people learn it, he's just like, forget you. Like, I
Okay.
don't know. I'm not
No,
sure.
me either. I don't know. I will kind of just like, okay, yeah, kind of like um kind of nerfed Loki for a bit. Um, but you know, they kind of explain it in a way where it doesn't really magic don't really work or his powers is lost. I'm like, okay, fine. I got over that.
Yeah.
A couple of things was I don't know. There wasn't a lot of stuff I didn't like about it. I probably would have
Yeah.
to like you probably had to say something like, oh yeah, but overall, it was good. Overall, it was good.
Yeah. Like, they give you a really good product. And, like, I mean, dude, the whole like bait and switch that they do when they finally meet the timekeepers.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I would say that was probably like one of the few times that the audio was bad. You know what I mean? Like, because those things were talking, and I'm like, are they just saying like blah 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 blah? Blah? Like, it sounded like garbled nonsense, and like I had to put on like subtitles to like see what they were saying, or like play it back a couple times. But like, but what I did like in that scenario was that they were fake, and as it was happening, I was just like, oh, they gotta be, dude, they gotta be fake.
Oh,
This can't be
and
it.
and I kind of knew some of the shows. some of the things were predictable because I kind of knew like the god. Come on, these three godlike figures, um, wasn't the main enemy, bro. I knew there was someone pulling the strings, and and what they found them on the fifth
The
episode, I believe.
last episode, but like the
No,
fifth
no, they
episode,
found them on the fifth episode.
well, yes, like they figured out like the fifth episode, like they figured out how to get to the real guy behind the curtain, right?
Yeah. So the fifth
And they found it in that Elias,
mm-hmm,
who sucks in space and time, which
mm-hmm,
is bonkers.
yeah.
But before I go forward with that, what I loved in that moment, and why like certain moments you're just like, why was Loki able to just have incredible power right there? Now what you start to see is like they saw the possibilities when they see all the Loki variants, right? Like you get the classic Loki who does that freaking awesome moment of literally creating a fake Asgard right there.
Mm-hmm.
And man, I just love how he went out with just like glorious purpose. Oh man, it gives me goosebumps thinking about it.
No,
Like that was
it was
such
good.
a
That was a good
great
scene.
moment.
Yeah, that was a
And
good moment shot.
I thought it was so great. But what's even better is they're just like, I think like the moment where he's just like, I think we're more capable of doing a lot more than we realize. And what I found so incredible in that moment is like it literally dawned on a bunch of gods of like the same variant that they were literally limiting their own power of what they could do, thinking like, oh, I'm born being able to do this and this and that's it. I couldn't possibly learn anything else. But they could, and they can. And I thought that was just like a really cool thing to sneak in, where it's just like, oh, like, wait, who else is holding themselves back of doing like incredible things and even adding on to what they can do with their powers or physically, whatever.
Yeah.
And like, just like it can translate to even just anyone. It's just like you're a lot more capable of doing things than you realize, even if you are face down with something as terrifying as a giant being that's basically a black hole.
I like the way they did Loki, and how they invited all the other Lokis and all the other variants, and there was just like, oh yeah, how come only the Lokis are here? It's like, well, Loki um are able to survive,
Yeah.
and seeing all the different type of Lokis. You got the old man Loki with his freaking uniform and stuff like that. You had the kid
Yeah.
Loki, um, and which is I like the way it was just like, okay, why are you here? What? I killed Thor. The kid Loki said that. I was like,
Yeah,
okay, I'm
dude.
like,
When Kid
interesting.
Loki was like a killed Thor, I was just like,
I was
yo,
like,
he's more
okay,
badass than you, bro. Like,
exactly.
what? He
So,
killed him.
it was kind of nice seeing all of them, um, different variants and different styles of Loki's of what he could have been.
Yo, here's my
Um,
thing though, is like if his big thing was he killed Thor, what about the black or boastful Loki? He
mhm.
had a hammer. Did he kill Thor too?
I don't know. See, that's the thing. And why didn't they use like he carried Mjolnir, but he didn't. I don't know. They didn't want him to use it to its full potential. You feel me?
Yeah, I don't
Like
know, man.
he was just carrying it, bro. I would like them to like have the lightning, throw it something.
Honestly, I wanted to see more of like all of those variants because I was just
Yeah,
like, dude, this is so cool. Like these are
same
great
here.
little gimmicky things right here.
I know, bro. And we have to mention this if we were going to mention the Loki's. Loki being a crocodile. Now, it I know it's a running joke and probably has something like that in the comic books or something. But how you feel about that?
Dude, that was great. That was so funny. Like, come on. At first, I missed it because the kid's like holding it, and
Mhm.
I'm like, oh, what? Kid Loki's just got a pet alligator? It was just,
Yeah,
oh no, that's just Loki. That's great. I thought that was a hilarious thing.
yeah,
Just there was an alligator version of him, and like what they said, like they like briefly kind of said it. It was just like he ate a cat or something, and that was his
No,
Nexus event.
yeah, I really don't remember. Like, yeah, I really don't remember how he became.
Which,
I guess maybe it's I don't know. Someone turned him into a crocodile. Maybe I don't know.
but I don't know. I thought it was great either
No, they
way that it was an
mentioned there's
intelligent
they. I think
crocodile.
they mentioned like, oh, how did they catch the crocodile? But again, I forget how they did that. But
Yeah, I
it
don't know.
is what it is. But yeah, man, I think how all the Lokis came together to well, the small group came to help the real Loki was good. And going back to the female Loki, it was hard for me to like care about her in the beginning. I mean, once she started opening up, you tell her backstory. It's like, okay, I like her. She was a variant, and she escaped from the timekeepers and tried to take it down. Then I started to really like the character and wanted her to survive, and wanted her to actually team up with Loki at the end. And to be honest, they make a good team.
Yeah.
Um, with her enchantments with Loki, they make it. I don't know about being a couple. Honestly, I think they make a good couple as well. Um, but they made a great team.
No, I totally agree that it was a very good team, and I can even agree with that. Like, yeah, once you like learn her backstory and like what happened, like what I think is wild is like she doesn't even remember what her Nexus event was.
Mm.
Like she doesn't know.
Yeah, you know what, they brought it up, but there was
And you
this.
don't get to find that out yet.
Yeah,
Yeah, she asked, and like
she was like, and
that
like,
yeah, that lady was like,
I
so
don't
long
remember.
I don't even remember now. Now it's just
and
like you
and yeah, in that moment I hated
terrible
that black
person.
girl. I was just like, you, that's cruel. Like, you did this and you don't even remember why. Like, it's
Yeah, like that's so I hate you. And like that was the interesting thing too, is like they make that person, I can't remember her name right now, but it's like super cool. I know that.
just slay something. I'm sorry guys, but I already judge something.
Renslayer.
Yeah.
That was it. That was a dope name. Um, but yeah, like they make her like where it's just like you're fine with her. You kind of you know she's like the guy like Owen Wilson's like being like buddy with her, and then when he leaves the room, he's like, I don't care. She gave us permission. You're gonna do what I say now. And
Mm-hmm.
like it's just like going behind boss's back, ha ha ha. But then yeah, dude, she's just like a victim of like blind allegiance, which
Mm-hmm.
like brings me up to the most important thing that we didn't get to talk about yet either, which we definitely need to really quick. All of those people are not created by that person, whoever, like, they thought the timekeepers, they
Yeah,
were not created for this. They were
exactly.
taken out of their timeline, plopped in, brainwashed, and just went like, hey, you were just born yesterday. You work behind this desk, and that's all you're going to do,
Mm-hmm.
which I found terrifying.
Yeah, and it's a twist that I didn't expect, to be honest. Because I love
No,
twists that I don't expect it. I think they make the most of the story, bro. I did
yeah,
not
that
expect
was
them to
that
be a
was
variant.
great.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was even better than saying like, oh yeah, they were just created for this. And what was awesome is that what's his name? Loki, he kind of calls BS from the start. He was like,
Oh
you're
yeah,
telling me you were specifically created to do this. That doesn't
yes,
make any sense.
exactly.
And
Like, he was
like,
questioning it. Yep.
and it was so great. Like he was just on the trail of it the whole time. And he was absolutely right. And so like I thought that was incredible. Where it was just like, oh, it's not just the people like him and like anybody else in the timeline. It's these people too. Nobody has free will except for he who remains.
Now, let's touch on that, bro. Now, we kind of went through all the episodes here and there, back and forth, the characters. Now, this is the most important part, obviously. The last episode, we're going to find out who is pulling the strings. Come to find out, he who remains is just a human being that really smart. You feel me? That from what, the 31st century, um, decided to create of device that make him go through the multiverse and all that stuff, and they made a fake utopia for a couple a couple of decades until utopia obviously never lasts. And then they had a uh multi-universe war, which, to be honest, I think is hinting at something in the future. You know,
Now,
you,
now, do you know who He Who Remains was?
no, I don't, because I was gonna
I
research this, but go ahead.
oh no, oh no, continue what you're saying.
No, I was gonna
Oh,
research
you're
who
gonna
it was.
research it. I
Yeah,
can
but
tell you
I haven't.
exactly who he is.
Yeah, well,
He
go ahead.
dropped the hint. He
Go
said
ahead.
a ruler. He's been called a ruler and a conqueror.
Mm-hmm.
He is Kang the Conqueror.
Kang the Conqueror.
Kang,
Yeah.
Kang, Kang
Okay.
the Conqueror.
Okay.
Now, this dude is one bad mofo, one crazy dude. He's just a tyrant.
Mm-hmm.
He's probably more scary than Thanos
Okay.
because, again, he is the reason that the whole multiverse universe, or the multiverse war started, and why He Who Remains, a variant of himself, uh caused it to go all into one timeline, because there's just versions of him that are way too scary. And I found that so chilling. And Jonathan Majors, who is going to play this character, I think his debut of being this guy was absolutely incredible. I've been a fan of this guy for a while. In the movie, the the Defy Bloods, super good. And then in another show that I almost recommended tonight, Lovecraft Country, he's really great in that. That show, it's creepy, it's weird, it's off the wall. So, like, to see him kind of go from that and then see him be the one that is very crazy, like almost like borderline losing his mind,
Mm-hmm.
kind of trying to keep this all together. Like, yeah, he knows he's the villain, and he's very straightforward with him and explains exactly why he does the thing he does, and sort of even believes it's a necessary evil. And I guess we'll see. But what makes me excited, and what I saw in his whole dialogue and what he got to do, is that, like, he now has to play multiple variants throughout this whole phase now. Like, he has to give multiple different performances. And that's going to be really incredible to see from the guy. And I really think this first outing where we got to see him, incredible. He was chilling. He creeped me out, and I just think he's going to be a very effective villain. And the next time that we get to see him will actually be Ant-Man 3.
Really? That's
Mm-hmm.
confirmed?
Oh yeah, because they confirmed him in the role of Kang the Conqueror in that movie like a few years ago, like maybe a year or two ago.
Wow.
Yeah, so he's going to be in that movie
Okay.
as the
So
villain.
no, I can't wait. I can't wait to do my research to find out who this guy actually is, um, and what he's capable of. But it's just like he's gonna be capable of a lot of, like, bad things, bro. Because he did, to be honest, yeah, he did a well performance. Like, even though I kind of, there's a lot of movies that they blow the budget because they put all the action in the beginning and the middle of the movie, and then they did the exact same thing in this show, because they talked for freaking the whole time. They barely did any action. I'm like, okay, y'all blow the freaking budget, and y'all really did do anything special this last episode. But I was
Oh,
okay with that.
but yeah, okay, no, you keep going. My bad.
Yeah, I
No, you
was
keep
okay
going.
with that because they explained a lot. So I was like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
you got me hope. Um, the way you explained it and the way the character was He Who Remains, and everything else about the last episode, I was like, okay, you get a pass, because I was still engaged throughout the whole episode, because it was interesting. And the
Yes.
fact that, like, and I kind of was like, I'm like, damn, you kind of make this character OP, because you can't kill this dude, you know. But he kept on saying, well, if you kill me, you kill, things gonna be different, this and that. So okay. And then in my head, I was like, okay, then he's just saying to us and to them, he can be killed. You feel me? So Bounce was like, okay, how they're gonna kill him then? But then he explained that, like, okay, I could, right at this point, I can't see the future. I can't stop you from killing me right now. So the way they did that was really interesting and fun.
Yeah, that that very and you know what? Like I get that when people like kind of don't like that sort of thing, but I actually love it when you get the villain and the main character to sit down and have a dialogue, because
Yeah.
for me, when that moment happens, I always know that I'm going to get something very incredible and moving in the dialogue. Like,
Mm-hmm.
for example, like in Kill Bill 2, there's a moment between Bill and Beatrix Kiddo, who she's finally at the moment. It's time to kill Bill, but not quite yet. And he goes through this whole monologue of like Superman
Mm-hmm.
and like the mythology of it, and it's just incredible, absolutely amazing. So like I just loved that part. Like I knew we were going to get action because they were going to confront the guy, and like I thought it was so much better that he's just like, come to kill the devil. Like he's just like, why don't you try and make it like he's just like, I am the devil, make it and he's like, you know what, better yet, you don't got to make the deal with him, I got the deal for you. But either way, in this deal, I technically win.
Mm-hmm.
You kill me, fine, that's great, I'll see you back around, and then back around again, because there's going to be infinite versions of me, you'll see me again.
Mm-hmm.
Or I get to move on and my life's work still gets to continue and you guys are happy too. So, and I just thought that was insane that this guy positions himself that way. Now, the moment that you spoke about where you said we've crossed the threshold, apparently, I didn't get to do this, but if you take the WandaVision season finale and this season finale and play them at the same exact time, those moments will match up.
Mm.
So that moment he says that they cross the threshold is the same moment that Wanda gets dubbed the Scarlet Witch. And then there's another moment that matches like I guess it was like when it's when Kang died maybe, or he like fell on the ground or something. At that same moment, there's a moment with Agatha that happened, Agatha Harkness in the show, and man, that moment's escaping me exactly what that. But anyways, there's these two moments that it's uncanny
Mm-hmm.
that they're lined up at that moment, that it couldn't possibly be a coincidence. And so another cool thing is that the post-credit scene in WandaVision has been altered. So it was a little different, and all that changed now is some trees have been moved around in the scene. And now you see this figure coming down the hill, rushing into the house where Wanda's sitting at as she's reading the shoot, I can't remember the book. It's like a spell book though, like she has, and she's learning magic and she's just flipping through it because now she understands who she is. She is the Scarlet Witch of legend that these other witches and magic people know about. So the people's theory though is it's Doctor Strange coming down the mountain to uh Scarlet Witch, because um people are theorizing that they changed it because Loki, you know, they sort of allowed the multiverse to sort of branch off. So they're thinking that because of that happened, that scene got changed, which is just really interesting that they might have gone back and did that because they're just trying to do these little things and like set up a whole multiverse. and show the consequences of one show affecting other
Yeah, I
things.
know. It's complicated, man. But
It's
I
very
think, but I
complicated.
think they're doing a good job of handling how the timeline works to make sure it doesn't bite them in the butt, and there's no plot holes. Because it's difficult to do stuff like that, bro, without
Yeah.
creating plot holes and time traveling in different dimensions. So, I'm excited to see the different versions of him and what he's really capable of, man. Now, what would you have done? Would you have taken the deal, or would you have killed him?
I think I was with Loki in that situation where he wanted to take that deal with her,
Yeah,
but she became so frustrated and wanted what she wanted at that moment that she turned her around on him, thinking that he just wanted, like, he didn't want that anymore. None of that is important to this character now.
yeah,
He has officially grown up more than the other Loki that we got.
of course.
And he didn't want that anymore, and he just wanted her to be okay, like, just for them to just exist together and and take this over, because he, like he said, he's a liar, and he knows that guy's a liar, but he could tell he's not lying right there. And I think he was very scared, which I would have been too,
No, yeah, it
because
was.
to me, like, that's the whole thing, is like, that guy is nuts. He's insane in that moment. But everything that he said, I believe, because I was just like, this dude's too crazy to be lying to me right
Nah,
now.
I believe him. I believe everything he said.
So I would have taken it. I would have done it. Or if,
Either timekeepers.
yeah, like, or if I could have, I would have just been like, could you just put me back in the timeline, and like, you can just keep doing it, because I don't want to do it.
Nah, it's yeah, it was. I don't know what I've done. Um, mm, I don't know. Maybe if I would have taken the job, obviously, I would think okay, I'll change it. I won't be like him. But in the end, if you have that much power, you're gonna end up just like him. Um, and then on the contrary, if you kill him, I'll I'll probably kill him. To be honest, I'm with Sifia.
Because, yeah, I guess, like, the whole argument, then, what it really comes down to, which I didn't think about before I gave my answer, was, do you want to give everybody free will, or do you want to keep it for yourself?
Exactly. That's yeah.
But the thing is like, with free will is going to come this giant war because of one guy. Do you really want free will to exist because one guy is uh, uh or do you really want free will to exist, but, like, if it exists, then you're going to have this guy who's going to be like the ultimate bad guy. Like,
No, I'd rather have free for all, and then we'll fight for it.
yeah, but, like,
Anyway,
I
it's kind of his
I'm worried
fault.
it's gonna
It,
come down to is that everyone is gonna have to, like, just give that up. They're gonna have to give up free will in the end.
what? Wait, in the Marvel universe or so?
Yeah, the Marvel universe, like,
No,
eventually, as
no, I
this
don't think it's gonna end that way.
progresses,
Maybe
it's
I don't
gonna
think it's
have
gonna end
to
that way.
end by condensing it all into one time, unless they can somehow kill an infinite version
And
of a
that's the
person.
thing. Now with Loki, it expands. We're gonna have, Ant-Man, and Doctor Strange are gonna expand the multi-universe and give us more explanation. Where Loki is the start. Now, I don't see.
What if is two?
Yeah, what if too? I don't see because I can't envision it right now because I'm not there. Like how they're gonna manage that. Like I said, it's difficult doing that. I mean, we kind of can see um the Arrowverse doing that with Supergirl and all those other people, but I haven't watched all of Arrowverse and Flash, but I think sooner or later they combine all the timelines into one, you know?
Yeah, no, that's what they did, is that
Yeah.
they took all the separate DC shows. They now exist on one planet.
So they
And
might
then
bring.
and then the other DC shows are in that DC multiverse.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
So
like,
so I don't know if they're gonna do that with this one, maybe not. And then we're gonna get different versions of characters, and it's just gonna be hard to track. So hopefully they can keep our engagement with the materials they're gonna put out, bro.
yeah, dude. And you know what? Like, I get, like, I agree. This is going to be a hard thing for them to balance, but like, also Kevin Feige and all the people on that team, they probably had this stuff planned out 4 years ago. So like, they probably already have this mapped out in exactly how they want to balance it. So like, I'm not too worried about it.
Yeah, me either. 'Cause, no,
But
I'm not gonna lie.
but it can still be a fair concern for
Yeah,
anybody
because
that's just like, oh boy.
I trust me, they have 10 years of experience to be like, okay, you got me. You guys know what you're doing. And they probably just planning. They probably have a separate group of people just planning what we're gonna do 5 to 6 years down the future. And then all they have to do is something happens, they just move it a little bit, adjust it accordingly, and we're gonna get the show, bro. Because I'm excited. I'm excited to see more of the movies that are coming out, the Disney Plus that's coming out, the new characters that they're bringing in. And I think Loki just to start. And uh
And like, what if is out now, man? And
mhm,
like the exciting thing with that show is they said it is canon. It's not like we were kind of talking about it before. Like, it's going to sort of be an anthology thing, but I think that they're like, Captain Carter is supposed to be this through line of the whole show. And I don't know. It's going to be very interesting. And like, it so far been interesting to see like a look into like a different version of all the things that we've got to see so far. Just like, what if this decision was changed? Then like, this is how the universe would be now. So like, it's just really cool to see that, and like knowing it is canon, and like knowing it's just coming off the heels of Loki, like it just
mhm.
makes me feel like, oh, they did it perfectly, because now we have real branched reality. So like, this guy is just showcasing exactly these branched realities. So like, hopefully it'd be kind of cool to see some of the characters that we get to see come in as these different variants of themselves into like live action movies.
Hopefully we get that. Now, you think
Nuts.
Loki is the best DC plus um series right now for Marvel?
Oh,
I have
the Disney,
all of
or
them right now.
yeah, it's the best Disney Plus show right now.
You think
Easy.
you think Hawkeye is gonna be better?
I think what I look forward to in Hawkeye is Florence Pugh,
Yeah,
and the fact that he will be passing it off to someone else.
gotcha. But it's not gonna be better. Okay, I got you. Um
Nope.
I got you. So I
It'll be
think,
cool.
yeah, I think that's about it. I think we wrapped up a lot of it, of what Loki is and what Loki is gonna be. Hopefully, can't wait for season 2. Hopefully, we get that soon. Thank you guys for listening to us. Comment below if you have any questions. Comment below if we missed something about Loki. We want to hear what you have to say. Follow us on YouTube, Fate Podcast. Follow us on Instagram at Fate Podcast, and then email us at fatepodcasters@gmail.com. Peace. Until next time.